Welcome back to Everything is Roses. This is the 8th episode. My name is Paula Kumans, and I am joined by...
Rafid Mahmoud, as always.
So, Rafid, it's been a while. What happened?
It has. It's been a very long time. We disappeared there for a second, but now we're back. Stronger than ever. But we got up to a lot of stuff. We had lots of classes going on, you and I, some exams, and then now we're in summer vacation mode.
Yeah. And now we are releasing new podcast episodes.
Yep. Now we're gonna be a lot more consistent, hopefully.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
So today is, it's the unofficial, quote-unquote, season 2. So this is kind of like a little bit of a divide. You just can't speak between the last few episodes, the last seven episodes, and this episode. But we're not gonna really market it as season 2 or anything. But today's topic, which was your idea, was productivity videos and our experiences watching them and consuming them online. So why don't you give us a bit of an idea of what exactly you mean by these videos?
So, everyone has seen those videos, whether you intentionally watch it or not. They detail one's morning routines, or even in the evening, and they show us step-by-step kind of the day in the life where they wake up, have breakfast, exercise, or whatever, and then get to work. And I mean, that's pretty much the main gist. And it's no surprise that it's very popular, especially in the US, because Americans tend to be very work-oriented. And so it's no surprise that adolescents find kind of an interest in work-related videos.
Right. No, I agree with you. And I've been seeing a lot of these videos online as well, like where creators go and explain their morning routines, like, day in the life of an entrepreneur, morning routine of a CEO, and they're waking up at 4 a.m. and by 4:30 they've completed their 5-hour workout and their work day, and they've made like $3,000 and still have like 23 hours in the day somehow. So definitely, it's something. I feel like, speaking of experiences about them, I would say I've seen a few. Mostly it's people just making fun of them. I feel like people are aware enough to realize no normal human being could actually, function like that in day-to-day life.
Right.
But of course, there is that minority that's like, oh my God, that's so cool, and I'm waking up at 1 p.m. and wasting away my day. I'll never be that good where I'm waking up at 6 a.m. and making that much money, So I feel like it's a two-sided thing where some people are aware they can't be like that, but at the same time, there are others that feel worse about their situation and thus lack or lose motivation to improve it by seeing others kind of do so much more with the time they have.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, the fact that they still garner millions of views, and I think are maybe the most, one of the most popular genres on YouTube, for instance. It's no wonder that despite all the criticism that they still get a lot of attention and interest in those videos. To me, kind of like one of the forefront things that I see with these videos is the extreme attention on just like little details in the day. And what I get from that is it's almost shaped like in a factory. It feels so like processed and artificial. It's like I wake up in the morning, I journal, I meditate, I drink my matcha. It's like it like in the real world, people don't function like that. Like, yes, you can have a to-do list, but I think the main issue is that it's not open to change, which is
Mm-hmm.
inevitable. I mean, you
Right.
can't just structure your entire day step by step, minute by minute, and
Yeah.
not accept something to kind of happen, uh,
Yeah.
like something unplanned. So, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. They never really give you a disclosure like, oh, this is just the routine that I have today. Maybe it's, the routine I want to show you guys, or maybe it's a routine that I just have during work days. But I mean, every day is subject to change. I don't do this stuff every single day. If I did, as you said, it would be like, I'm just another cog in the system
right,
of a factory. And so I feel like that's the biggest issue where not enough people disclose that, my routine isn't going to be like this every day. Yours isn't. No one is this productive 365 days a year. So it's completely okay to have days where, you're not structured, organized, or planned at all. And I personally feel that, I don't know about you, but I feel like when you have a routine, it's good, it's productive, sure, but after a certain period of time, it kind of becomes stagnant, It just kind of ties you down. Everything starts to lose its color and interest to you. You're just doing the same thing every day. So I feel like routines are an essential component that can help you increase your productivity, sure, and your discipline, but I feel like you need change and spontaneous kind of moments throughout your day where you just do whatever without worrying about how productive you're being and how disciplined you are. I feel like that's essential, and no one really talks about it.
right. Yeah, I agree. There's many videos in which they're talking about the entire day. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're doing step by step from the time they wake up to the time
Mm-hmm.
they sleep. And so it's
Yeah.
like every single hour is planned and structured. And
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I would personally like, sure, having a morning routine and a night routine, that's normal. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
everyone has that. However,
Yeah.
planning the middle of the day as having
Mm-hmm.
something that's already structured feels so unnatural because who
Yeah.
really has every single minute having something to do? I think it kind of gives off an idea that you're not disciplined if you're not doing
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah, it gives off like a negative kind of image of what you should be doing and not what you can be doing or anything like that. I definitely agree with you. And I feel like if you have everything planned out, you kind of lose like the charm of life. That sounds corny, but I think it's true. Like just
Yeah.
having random stuff to look forward to in the day that just happens by chance. I feel like that's the best thing you could have. Like when you go about your day and maybe you get a call from a friend, or maybe you receive a text message from someone wanting to hang out that was not originally part of your agenda for that day. I feel like those things are essential because, life isn't always going to be planned. And I feel like people that plan everything, they're less adaptable and less able to improvise with stressful situations or situations that are unforeseen. And I feel like it hurts kind of the resilience of people if you're not, willing to just go with the flow and kind of change your routine to just be a bit more sporadic.
Yeah, I agree. If you have just a very lengthy to-do list, if
Mm-hmm.
one thing is incomplete, then everything is going to fall like a domino effect. That's
Right.
and I mean that cannot be healthy for you because that must
Mm-hmm.
be very demotivating.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean you bring up a good point. The part of, getting a message from a friend to hang out and that
Mm-hmm.
being kind of a surprise. I think that's also very important because these videos are highly focused on the self, being
Mm-hmm.
highly individual.
Right.
And it's always me, me, me. This is how I prepare for my day. This is what I'm doing for
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, you never see
And
them hang out with anyone.
yeah, no, that's very true. And like you
Mm.
never see them, for instance, like hanging out with family. That's not part
No.
of my day in the life. No, it's about being productive on my widescreen monitor and
Mm-hmm.
like drinking
Right.
matcha. Like
Yeah.
that's
And my sponsored coffee beans that you can get from the link below.
right. So
Yeah.
that's what kind of gets me because it's just not realistic at all. And yet
Mm-hmm.
the attention that they're getting are from, I would say, predominantly young adults and also
Yeah.
teenagers. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what they're kind of being influenced by.
Yeah. It kind of gives them that image of like, oh, you can do it too. If you adopt my morning routine, you can become like me. It's like it reminds me of when celebrities, like actors, make workout videos. Like Chris Hemsworth made one, I think, and a few others made a few as well. And they basically tell you what they did to get in shape for the movie that they made. Like, for example, Chris Hemsworth shows his workout routine for Thor. And people watch that and they think, oh, if I do this exact workout routine, I will look like Thor.
Right.
And I feel like that's the same principle being used here, where, oh, if I use this morning routine, I can become as successful as this guy. But it doesn't work like that. Like, you have your own body, your own needs, your own kind of design, and each person functions differently. Like, I feel like there's so much debate around waking up early. Like, I always see videos on YouTube where some dude is arguing like, oh yeah, wake up at 5 a.m., it'll change your life. And then the health scientists and experts are all like, no, actually that's not really that great for you. You're losing out on sleep. And I mean, you should just go to sleep like whenever you're finished with the day, and when you have to start the day, between that, as long as you're getting like 8-9 hours of sleep, it's decent, and you can wake up whenever you want, as long as it's not like 1 p.m. or something. So I feel like it kind of, yeah, it's so fake and shallow, the entire industry revolving around it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's they're setting expectations that people just maybe can't even achieve at all.
Mm.
And so like a lot of the visual aspects of these videos are
Mm-hmm.
having like modern looking apartments,
Right.
expensive like desks that like elevate up into a standing desk, which
Mm-hmm.
probably costs like, I don't know, $900 or so.
Yeah,
And
probably.
as I mentioned like before, those huge Samsung like widescreen monitors
Oh yeah,
and
curved
the
OLED.
right, just to write on Google Docs.
Mm-hmm.
And you have like the very expensive skincare routines that are a
Oh
part
yeah.
of their mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're almost projecting the idea of like a stress-free living.
Mm-hmm.
And but the reality is that all they are really truly projecting is that I have a privileged kind of very expensive life. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be productive and disciplined, you kind of
Mm-hmm.
have to achieve all of these little things. And they're not,
Mm-hmm.
intentionally putting the message out there, but
Yeah.
subconsciously that's definitely entering the viewers' heads.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, there's a lot of subconscious kind of meaning and signification or significance that comes with these kinds of messages and these videos into the viewers, like as you said. But yeah, I feel like it's very dangerous for young teenagers, as you said, who are the majority of the target audience here. Like, they're growing up, they're like, oh, what should I be doing during this time? Like, what should I be working on? I have this free time, I want to work on something, make some money and get my business running or something like that. And then they look online because, they're creators, these influencers are like their role models almost. And then when that creator drops a morning routine or a daily life video, and they're like, oh my God, damn, like, that's the life. That's kind of the standard. That's the goal that I need to get to. And it's such a shallow idea. I feel like the idea of life that they sell you is so fickle and so sort of without significance. There's no substance behind it. Like you, as we mentioned earlier, you never see them hanging out with anyone. You never see them, just relaxing, just straight up not doing anything, playing video games, going out with friends, having a coffee or something. It's always just, oh yeah, I wake up, I do my morning routine, I take a shower, a cold shower, then I do 50 push-ups, then I do 50 squats, then I go in the office and work for 15 hours and come back home to my wife who cooks me, 50 grams of protein and carbs and everything is controlled, and I have my substances. And so there's just nothing authentic about it. And I feel like that gives people the idea that, authenticity and being open with people is a sign of weakness. Like, you should always just be at work, you should always just be making money, you should always be independent, and you don't need connection.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's highly materialistic. It's, you have to purchase these little things. You have to spend most of your day focusing on how can I make a profit from my business, how I'm successful as an entrepreneur. And I feel like they have to make it more clear that they're positioning their videos on kind of like urban entrepreneurship life, and not, because millions of people, for example, in the US are not in cities. They're in the country or in small towns. And so they're not positioning their videos to kind of be accessible to the majority of the population. And in the world as well, it's the same case. It's not like everyone has this similar lifestyle that can be elevated to these YouTubers' lifestyles. So I think that's the main issue as well.
Right, yeah. And I feel like by giving off that image, you kind of also promote that mindset of being a bit, how to put this, like being cold to people and not being authentic, basically. And I feel like nowadays you see this so prominently everywhere you go, where someone will be friends with you, at face, but behind their backs they don't really have any interest in you because there's no genuine connection or desire for genuine connection. And it's just like, oh, what can this person offer me in terms of benefit, whether that be for my business, whether that be, overall socially. And it becomes like a back and forth that's based on merit, that's based on, oh, what can I get and what can I receive, rather than just meeting people, socializing, networking for the sake of networking and for the sake of making genuine connection. And I feel like that's a very prominent and very dominant problem that we see everywhere, especially among young adults. And I feel like these kinds of images of what the ideal working adult and ideal adult in general looks like contributes to that very negatively.
I see. So it's like these videos are kind of leading up to almost a life filled with like business transactions.
Yeah. It's like they kind of promote looking at everything in life as a transaction, as like a means to an end, rather than just living life. Because, I'm sure these videos aren't the only thing that's contributing to that, but they are one, I would say, component that leads to a bigger problem overall, which is that they lack authenticity in the videos themselves. They never tell you that, oh, this is just a day in my life, a working day, and maybe it's a bit exaggerated to get the clicks and all that, but a normal day in my life doesn't look like this. I go out, I hang with friends, I do all this stuff, and you guys should too, because it's healthy for you. But no one talks about that. And when no one talks about that kind of issue, people think, oh, well, I guess it's just not important to do that stuff, because if these successful people aren't doing it, then why should I?
Yeah, and it's also kind of dangerous in my eyes, because you can tell the types of forms of media that are, manipulated and fake. Like you can have some dramas on TV and whatever,
Right.
and you see like, okay, that's not actually happening and whatnot. But
Yeah.
these videos are positioned as like, this is actually what happens in real life.
Mm.
And you're seeing like hundreds of these videos with millions of likes and views. And you
Mm.
start to get the idea like, okay, this is the norm. This is what
Yeah.
people are actually doing in the everyday.
Yeah.
You can't like distinguish between what is reality and what is just, kind of media and just, other forms of entertainment. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely blurs the lines.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's the silent majority is very much silent in these cases because most people don't live life in that way. But all you see are the millions of likes, the millions of views, and you're like, oh, I guess this is how people are living now and how I should be living as well. And if I don't, then I'm just a bum, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, yeah, to zoom out a bit as well, like in general, I would say influencer culture, YouTubers, and even social media in general kind of contributes to this as well. Where, I mean, we already did a social media episode, but to kind of rehash a bit of the points because there is a very important link, which is that on social media, it's kind of the same thing. When you follow your friends and you see little snippets of their life, they're showing you the highlights of their life, like the most exciting moments, the most productive moments. And you compare that with your normal, you know, stable, fluctuating, and just random life that has ups and downs and good moments, bad moments, but you don't ever put out the bad moments. No one does because it's like, who wants to see that? And so I feel like it's kind of like uh, a chain in this kind of ecosystem of negativity and just fake productivity that they sell you.
Yeah, definitely. It's like people are marketing themselves to others, and in
Mm-hmm.
return they get a little bit of cash from the views they receive, or they just get a
Right.
massive following count, and that's kind of what matters to a lot of people. And that's
Mm-hmm.
a transaction that people kind of expect.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very shallow, and it is concerning because there's so many young people that consume this kind of stuff and they grow up believing like, oh, this is the way to do things. And it's creating like this kind of downward spiral for our generation. But I mean there's of course there are benefits as well. Like there are of course some YouTubers that show their routines in the way that they actually are. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but the ones that really don't care about, you know, the fame and the clout and everything, and they just present it like it is. I feel like we need more people like that to show, oh, okay, I'm a CEO, I'm running this company, but I have a life. I go play tennis every, Thursday with my friends. I play video games at home when I'm not working, and I just laze around every now and then, and I still go to the gym and all that. But other than that, I live a normal life. And there are definitely people like that, but it's just overshadowed by the overwhelming majority of people just selling you a fake routine.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I would even expect those types of videos to get maybe even more attention than the very artificial morning routines,
Mm.
because I feel like people now are, I mean, like what you mentioned, are kind of realizing that how fake and manipulated they are,
Mm-hmm.
and they're almost craving kind of
Yeah.
a greater sense of genuineness in these videos. And I mean, you're even seeing like overall that
Mm-hmm.
people are kind of stepping back from their overall usage of technology in terms of social media, browsing Netflix or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of to be expected. I mean,
Right.
especially our generation has been consuming these forms of media our entire lives. And it's no wonder that there is now kind of
Mm-hmm.
this withdrawal, this movement to kind of go away from
Right.
these forms of media because of how consuming it is on our lives. So Yeah, I mean, I feel like those, if there is kind of a push to put more videos like that, more genuine, more realistic, then people
Mm-hmm.
will kind of treat social media more as an informational piece of technology, something that's actually more beneficial than harmful.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. And there's definitely elements that are beneficial. Like, I don't know about you, but me personally, when I see these kinds of, well, not routine videos, but when I see a YouTuber or someone online, a personality online, doing something productive, like, maybe they're going to the gym and they post about their results and, maybe they've made a really good transformation, that is inspiring. Like, that does
Yeah.
help me get in that mindset of like, oh, okay, I should maybe kind of try it out as well. Maybe I should get back into working out and not slack off and all that stuff. So there are definitely good points to it. I feel like it's just that the format needs to be changed a bit more. And as you said, we need a bit more authenticity. And I feel like, again, to agree with you, that would be more well received by the audience to just see someone lay it out so authentically, and that would kind of alleviate the thoughts of, am I just the outlier? Am I just a bum for not doing something 1 day a week or 2 days a week? I feel like that would help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think it would be helpful for people whose lives don't really reflect these videos to kind of get out there and maybe even publish their own content to show what their
Mm,
life is like, and all over
right.
the world, because I guarantee like this is just like, if you even set aside these kind of unrealistic standards and just focus on like
Mm,
the foundation of all these videos, again, it's all about,
right.
kind of being in an urban life and having my own
Mm,
business or even being a college student. And I
right.
think it would be kind of more beneficial to have those people who are not in those settings. It could be,
Yeah.
I don't know, it could be a school teacher even, and
Yeah.
and they can show the routine. And I think that's kind of the
Mm,
main purpose of platforms like YouTube. It's to show content
mm,
from around the world and not just have
right.
it all like a bunch of videos kind of be
Mm,
structured the same way. It doesn't engage people enough.
right. Yeah. No, that's a really, really good point. Like I've been seeing, uh, just day in the life of a 7-Eleven worker,
Oh,
and
really?
people that are just working. Yeah, there's I forget his name, but there's a really decently popular channel on YouTube, and it's just a guy working at a 7-Eleven, and he just shows his life working over there and how he wakes up and everything like that. And it's just a normal dude. It's straight up just a normal guy in his 30s living in the States working at 7-Eleven. And then there's so many other examples too, like a day in the life of a carpenter. I remember back a few years there was a really popular carpenter on Twitch, and he would just make videos working on his projects while streaming. And nowadays I see a lot of videos about what are they called? Cobblers, yeah. I see a lot of videos about them. They just work on their projects, their the shoes their clients bring in, and they just go through that process of, okay, well, I start with this. This is what I do for my work, and this is basically the life I have at work. And then besides that, when I go home, it's a completely different thing. I do this and I do this, and I feel like those things are so much more valuable than these kind of entrepreneur CEO daily life videos, because I feel like they teach you the reality of the working world. Like, a 7-Eleven worker, no one really, well, for starters, no one really has any interest in how that works. But through these videos, you get to realize, oh, it's actually a lot more interesting than I initially thought. And I can learn a lot through doing that kind of quote unquote mundane work. No offense to people that work in 7-Eleven or anything like that. Huge respect. But again, that these kinds of mundane videos that would seem mundane at the surface, they teach you a lot about just what life is actually like in the working world. And you don't need to be waking up at 5 a.m. and driving your Lamborghini and all that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think like overall the result of kind of engaging with that new type of content is to develop
Mm-hmm.
kind of a more greater understanding of people and compassion. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what's kind of needed in society today. It's like that ignorance is kind of
Right.
what leads to hate and prejudice, and not
Yeah.
knowing what other people's lives are like, what kind of makes individuals what they are today, is kind
Mm-hmm.
of it's a necessity to have this knowledge and to not be
Mm-hmm.
consumed by again what we were mentioning, those forms of media that
Mm-hmm.
are just highly fabricated. If we can see the real
Right.
world just even through a digital
Mm-hmm.
lens, then that's we're actually using these tools for a greater purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It builds awareness and it helps you learn, what other people are going through in their day to day and in their work life. And it helps you acquire more knowledge on, oh, okay, I thought this particular job was easy, but turns out there's a lot that goes into it. And through that, you develop a respect for that profession. And I feel like the more awareness that, accumulates through these kinds of contents, the better, because through that we learn to appreciate labor and these sorts of positions that we didn't before. Like, I remember, I mean, even now there are people that look down on people that work with garbage and people that work in sewers, but through these videos on YouTube or whatnot that detail the daily life, the work life of people that do these kinds of jobs, I feel like people now have more respect, more awareness, and actually appreciate what these people do for them. And it helps them realize, oh, they are an essential component of me in my daily life. Like, they do their job so I can do mine correctly and I can live mine correctly. And so I feel like, as you said, yeah, it's a tool that can be used for a great purpose and to build more compassion and understanding between people and to build authenticity as well. Because when you go into, it's like, for example, you see a video of a carpenter doing his work and you realize, oh, it's a lot more difficult, it's a lot more, articulate and a lot more meticulous than I originally thought. And then you meet someone that, works as a carpenter, you'll have more connection with that person because you have something to reference. Like, what they go through, what they work with. And I feel like that's better than just telling everyone to be an entrepreneur and start their own business and all that, which there's nothing wrong with. But I feel like the more we know about all types of work, the better.
Yeah, definitely. Shifting our focus away from just kind of the standard ideals. The again, you mentioned
Mm,
the six-figure entrepreneur, and instead on
right.
all aspects of life.
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
definitely very important. And I guess the overall
Mm-hmm.
message is
Mm-hmm.
just to, when you're publishing content, when you're a person who is considered an influencer, if you have a mass following, to be more
Mm-hmm.
authentic. Because yes, I mean, you
Yeah.
may garner more attention initially, you may get more
Mm-hmm.
views, but overall what people truly crave is kind of that authenticity because it's more beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time nowadays. It's honestly baffling why people don't do it more. Like with actors, for example, you have Keanu Reeves, which I know you're a mega fan of, and you have Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, these kinds of actors that are down to earth, that don't really mingle with high society, that don't really, show off their wealth. They're just normal people that want to connect with the people around them and want to live a normal life. And they are the most loved. Like, if you check, fan bases and everything, they are the actors that everyone has their eyes on because they are normal people. They are more relatable and not so out of reach and not so alien like everyone else. And so that should be a hint that what people crave is not, motivation to become a robot. It's relatability in someone that's more successful than them. to see that, oh, this pathway of genuine connectivity, of being genuine to people, of, just being myself, the best version of myself, will lead me to the places that I need to be and want to be.
Right, right. Yeah, you hit the nail with that one. It's no wonder that these types of celebrities are actually kind of more popular in some ways. Like,
Yeah.
yes, maybe some kind of hit the newspapers more often.
Mm.
However, actors like that you mentioned, um, they're more liked. You have these kind of articles that are publishing, like, praising these celebrities for just being down to earth.
Mm.
And I mean, yes, it may seem that popularity will still, again, lie with people who are inauthentic, who are
Mm.
kind of being what society makes of them,
Mm.
and following kind of the guidelines of what you should be as an actress, as an actor, as a model, etc. But
Right.
if you can kind of break those barriers and just be yourself,
Mm.
then you'll come to realize that people gravitate towards that more.
Mm. Right. No, I agree with you. It's definitely, the case is definitely in that favor for sure. But do you find that you're more productive when you have a routine in place? Or do you find that you need kind of a balance between the two, or just no routine at all? What's your preference in daily life?
I mean, I like to keep, a set of habits for each morning and evening. I mean, kind of like what I
Mm.
mentioned previously, I like to keep the start and the end kind of habitual. Um,
Mm.
and so I can easily flow into
Right.
the day without thinking much. But while I'm actually meeting friends
Mm-hmm.
or anything else, I'm
Mm-hmm.
keeping it very open and not trying to set any
Mm.
expectations of what I should be doing, and not feeling ashamed if I'm not being full on productive, because
Right.
that's just not realistic for the everyday. So how about you?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's better to have like specific moments of the day planned out than to just plan out the whole day. Like I'm the same way. In the morning, I have my morning routine. I do my skincare and everything. That's all the same every morning. But the rest of my day, I leave it completely open. Well, I mean, I approach the day in a sense that the day before, when I'm in bed, I'm like, all right, so what's the plan for tomorrow? I think this in bed. And then I'm like, all right, so I gotta do a workout some point in the day, around the evening. Then I have, some work to do. I gotta apply to some places, some jobs or something. I gotta, study some French. Maybe I have a call with someone to practice my French or something like that. And then the rest is just whatever happens, happens. Like, for example, maybe if my family decides to go out, maybe a friend wants to hang out, maybe I just go out for a walk or something like that. I tend to keep that open, in the vacation days at least. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Because if you plan out everything, then really you're just going to burn yourself out. And you're just going to be like, oh, nothing happened. Because when you have the same day over and over, time passes both really quickly and actually really slowly. It's kind of very strange.
Mm.
Like you're going to spend months and they'll feel really long at the time, but when they're over, you'll be like, where did the time go? What did I do? Because you did nothing in truth, you didn't really do anything out of the ordinary. You just did what you do all the time. So I feel like that's the best way to make life memorable, to make experiences more, you know, enjoyable, more valuable, and just more fun. So I feel like, yeah, routines are good, but beyond just creating a general guidance and guideline and pushing you in a direction that you need to go, I don't think there's much need to follow it down to a T.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, because I think it tends to be the habit of especially young people to kind of position routines and productivity and whatnot being the
Mm.
like height of life. And if you're not
Mm.
able to nail down your routines in the everyday, then
Mm.
essentially you're failing in life. And I think that's
Right.
kind of what happens with, you know, the abundance of these videos. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like, again, like prioritizing things such as family values, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
are what, you know, are kind of ingrained in humanity and are being left
Right.
out by these highly individualistic, materialistic content
Yeah.
that many people are consuming.
Exactly. And they're miserable. Like you, if you look at them, you can tell they're not having a good time. It's the same with these billionaires. Like, look at all of them, and they're none of them have a shred of happiness in their life. Like, the only reason they have that much wealth is because they need it to fill that void they have of genuine human connection and friendship and love. And it's like it's hidden beneath the surface, and they try to hide it really, really well. And it works too. Like, people believe the image.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't really think they ever fill that void. It
Yeah.
it's just like a continuance of emptiness, to be honest.
Yeah, like the other day I was reading about Jeff Bezos's recent wedding. I don't know if you caught wind of that. But I think he rented out majority of Venice, or like all of Venice, and he just caused so much trouble for the locals. And he invited, I think the guest list was like 200 people, and all of them were celebrities. There was no close family, no close relatives, no close friends, because they don't have any, and they just did it to get the most media attention. And then they got Leonardo DiCaprio in there and everyone,
Hmm.
and they had like their caps on, trying to hide their face. Like, I'm like, bro, this is the worst part of our world.
Yeah, I would be pretty fearful actually if I was, you know, a celebrity.
Hmm.
Fearful of relationships with other people if they're actually truly authentic. Because I mean, when
Right.
you brought up, it's like you have no idea what people's intentions are. And of
Hmm.
course, celebrities are going to surround themselves with other celebrities. That's why you
Right.
see, you know, friends of celebrities just being, you know, other celebrities.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great kind of issue that people don't really point out. They don't
Yeah.
point out kind of the negatives of the fame and the wealth.
Yeah, it's an industry, and you have to blend in to survive. But I feel like that's changing a lot, because nowadays, again, you have so many authentic actors, authentic celebrities, and they're doing quite well for themselves. And I feel like we've reached a point where people can do that without hurting their image, their business, and their value in the industry. And so I can only hope that people gain more exposure to that, realize that, and come to the conclusion that, oh, we don't really need to do all this stuff that we don't really enjoy doing in the first place. Like, if we look deep down, we really don't enjoy having my fifth $50 billion yacht. I really didn't really need that. Could have just gone out to lunch with my friend Terry or something.
Right. Yeah, Terry.
So
I mean,
yeah, gotta enjoy, man. Gotta give Terry some quality time. Have a
yeah.
cafe or two.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a perfect end to this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, I mean, we went places, we discussed a lot, and I feel like it was pretty good for our first one back. We're a bit rusty,
Yeah.
but, and we're at distance, but we do what we can.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
I was feeling like I was struggling at some points, but you know,
Mm,
it's good to talk about, especially this subject, because it's kind
right.
of been on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of great sharing it with other people as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an important topic, because I'm sure people have been thinking the same thing, like in the back of their minds, and not having that kind of space to be heard and to be related to, like, oh no, you're not alone. This is crazy, actually. No one is actually like this. You're not the only one thinking that it's kind of unrealistic. So I feel like the more attention brought to these subjects, the better. Well, yeah, I mean, this is everything we have for you right now. But as always, we'll make sure to see you guys next time. No long breaks this time, hopefully. No promises. But as always, if you like the episode, Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, share with whoever you think needs to hear our dumb voices, and we'll catch you in the next one.